So, guys, was Jon Jones out of line to toss shade at Francis Ngannou when he took time away from the sport and vacated his light heavyweight title in an effort to make more money? So that's kind of what Francis is doing, trying to look out for himself, make more money, standing up for himself against the UFC juggernaut. Plus, he's also been feuding online with Tyson Fury. A little hijacking there of Ngannou's plans? No, I don't know. Has Jones been acting fair or foul, fellas? All right, goes, you're first.
I think he's fair. I don't think he's out of line. He's doing what he's supposed to do, right? He's trying to elevate his own brand. He's taking advantage of being in the biggest stage that you could possibly be in mixed martial arts. He's got the UFC belt. He's taking advantage of that. He'd be a fool not to poke the bear. But is his reasoning there? Probably not, but people are still going to buy it. They buy it all the time. Jon Jones can do ridiculous things, and you think he's going to come out and people are going to throw eggs, and instead they're cheering him, right? He's done that time and time again. So I think Francis Ngannou's responses to Jon Jones have been pretty good. He keeps it short and sweet, right? People need to come to Francis Ngannou, not him come to Jon Jones. And I think in the past, in some of these feuds with Jon Jones, he's able to get people to constantly try and come at him. And that's where I think Francis Ngannou is winning a little bit, because he's keeping it short and sweet the same way he is with Dana White. But I don't fault Jon Jones for attempting this at all.
All right, Danny, fair or foul the way Jones has been acting towards Ngannou and the big deal he signed?
I'm kind of stuck between the two. Obviously, when you got Francis Ngannou leaving as champion, and now he takes over the belt with his win over Cyril Gane, I do think it's fair for him to be out there banging the drum and being like, "No, I'm the baddest man on the planet." Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to promote yourself. You're supposed to promote, the company that's backing you and whatnot. But what doesn't sit right with me is that Jones and Ngannou's situation with the contract obviously is very different. One re-signed with the UFC, the other walked away. But the root of their issues with the UFC were the same, which was, they felt like they weren't getting fairly treated, both from compensation and as well, just treatment from the company. So I want to quickly read a 2001 tweet that surprisingly, or maybe not, got deleted from Jon Jones, but the record is still out there on the internet. So this is what Jon Jones wrote in 2021. Please cut me already. You would rather have me around and treat me like shit. I swear the UFC industry has been nothing but depressing for me. Just fucking let me go. What type of weird shit this is? Obviously, the boss hates me. Let me take my business elsewhere. So he clearly was ready and down to walk away and take his business elsewhere and, feel appreciated somewhere else, both monetarily and just by the company. Obviously, we saw that clip that Ngannou had tweeted, kind of Dana White, the promoter, throwing shade at the GOAT, Jon Jones. Now he's in his good graces, obviously, but I just want to kind of say to Jon Jones, don't forget you were in a very similar position to Francis Ngannou. Now things worked out for you and you're happy with your contract. And, I'm happy that, you got what you felt you were worth. But let's not forget, like, you were in a very similar position to Francis Ngannou, but he actually got to walk away. So that's when I say foul. That's when I say foul, because you should understand Francis Ngannou, in my opinion.
Good stuff, Danny. Nice find on that tweet. All right, how about you, Mike? Close things up here on this topic.
Yeah, great answer from Danny and great find on that tweet. And it goes to show, I was going to reference a quote from Jones before Francis officially left, but when he was going through his stuff, basically saying that, I'll never judge another man for doing what he thinks is right for his life. And Francis did the right thing. And then Jon Jones decided to crap all over him, saying that he's soft and he's running away from the fight and all these narratives that don't necessarily make sense to me. A big difference in terms of what Danny was laying out there too is Francis Ngannou did get to the end of his UFC contract, and he went through all the challenging hurdles and protocols it takes to get to free agency. Jon Jones, when he re-upped, he still had multiple fights on his deal. He just wanted a better purse for fighting at heavyweight against these tougher challenges, on paper. And that had always been his thing, that, I'll stay at 205 and defend my belt as many times as I need to for this contract. But if I'm going up, I want to be compensated differently. He didn't get what he wanted, and he sat out for pretty much 3 years at this point. So, for us to sit here, we've all been following Jon Jones for more than a decade at this point. Since he was like the youngest champion in UFC history. If any no one should be surprised that he is hypocritical towards his own words, that he, says things that are backwards, that, conflict with previous statements he's made. Like, this is the story of Jon Jones's entire history in the UFC, and this is who he is, and we're kind of almost used to it at this point, but this is the way he's always been. So I'm not surprised that he went there. I guess to answer the question, was it fair or foul? I guess it's fair because this is what I expect from Jon Jones at this point. But some of the stuff is foul in terms of everything Daniel laid out there, what position Jon Jones was in, and now someone else who's going through something somewhat similar. And he's, not, he's being part of the problem and not part of the solution in that regard.
Yeah, well, I think it was foul. I think there's a little bit of a fraternity between these athletes. Yeah, they fight each other, but they root for each other in certain things. And with it being almost identical, you think there just would have been a touch of gloves from one guy to the next. Hey, it would have been nice to fight you, whatever. But instead, the dude just went in another direction.